Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into something pretty significant for a lot of folks in cybersecurity,
Hmm.
getting ready for the OSCP. That's the Offensive Security Certified Professional Cert.
Yeah, and we've got this great source material for our deep dive today. It's basically like a full roadmap, taking you from zero knowledge right up to tackling that exam.
A battle plan almost.
Exactly, a battle plan from scratch.
So our mission here is to pull out the really critical stuff from this guide.
Hmm.
What are the absolute must-do steps, the mindset you need, the things you just can't skip? Because, I mean, the first thing that jumps out about OSCP is how hands-on it
Oh,
is.
totally. The guide hammers this home right away. OSCP isn't about memorizing facts for a multiple choice test. Nope. It's 100% practical, hands-on hacking. Can you actually do it?
Right. So if you're curious about ethical hacking, maybe thinking about a career switch or, you're already heading down this path, this deep dive should give you a good sense of the structured way this guide suggests going about it.
Let's jump in then. Step 1 in the guide. It's really about understanding what OSCP is.
Okay.
So it's from offensive security, OffSec, and like you said, the big differentiator. That exam, it's 24 hours, purely practical. You're actively trying to break into machines, get root access, admin rights.
24 hours straight. Wow. So what does passing that kind of intense test actually prove, according to the guide?
Well, obviously, it proves you have real practical skills you can use on the job. But maybe more importantly, it shows you can think logically under serious pressure. It shows incredible patience, persistence.
Ah, okay.
And the guide really stresses those qualities.
Hmm.
Says they're like gold in the industry because, well, they're hard to teach.
So it's not necessarily about being like some coding genius who finds 0 days instantly.
Not at all. That's a key point the guide makes early on. The fundamental mindset is crucial. This is a marathon, okay? Not a sprint. It's about being methodical, persistent,
Yep.
grinding through problems when you get stuck, not just waiting for a flash of brilliance, that whole try harder thing. It's not just a catchy phrase. The guide presents it as the core attitude you absolutely need from day one.
Okay, so understand the challenge.
Yeah.
Adopt the mindset. Got it. Then the guide's second step. This might seem a bit backwards to some. It says build your fundamentals before you even look at the official OSCP course stuff.
Yeah, and the guide is really, really firm on this. It argues you need those basic skills first. Trying to jump into complex exploits without that foundation, it compares it to, like, trying calculus before you know basic addition.
You just get lost.
Completely lost and, frankly, really frustrated.
So what are these fundamental skill that highlights? What specifics are we talking about?
Okay, so solid networking basics are a must. You need to get concepts like IP addresses, the digital street addresses, DNS, the internet's phone book, basically, and core protocols like TCP/IP, how computers actually talk to each other.
Makes sense.
Then, comfort with the command line, both Linux and Windows, because you'll be dealing with both all the time in the labs. And just understanding how the internet works, ports, firewalls, web servers, the building blocks.
And for someone starting out, where does the guide suggest they pick up these skills? Does it give pointers?
It does, yeah. It specifically recommends using free resources first.
Yeah.
Things like Try Hack Me, they have pre-security or intro to cybersecurity paths. Hack the Box has a starting point series.
Okay.
And even just general YouTube tutorials, videos covering CompTIA network plus concepts, for instance. The whole point is to get comfortable with this stuff before you officially start your OSCP clock, so to speak.
So this isn't just a nice-to-have step. The guide frames it as essential to avoid, like, weeks of pain later on.
Exactly. Build that foundation first. It prevents so much frustration down the line and lets you actually focus on the hacking techniques when you get to the main course material.
Okay, solid foundation built. Step 3 in the roadmap then moves on to the tools,
Yeah.
right? The actual hacking tools.
Yep. The digital weapons, as the guide puts it. But it makes an important distinction here. It's not about knowing every single tool under the sun. It's about mastering a core set really, really well.
And what are some of those core tools it calls out?
Well, the big ones you'd expect. Nmap, definitely.
Yeah.
For scanning networks, finding what's out there. Burp Suite for digging into web applications, testing their security.
Right, standard web testing tool.
Then for more web enumeration, things like Nikto, GoBuster, Derb get mentioned. Metasploit is in there too for automating exploits, but with a big warning.
What's the warning?
The guide strongly advises not to rely on it too much during prep. The exam often tests your ability to do things manually. The steps Metasploit might automate, so you need to understand the underlying process.
Okay, use it, learn from it, but don't let it become a crutch.
Yeah.
What else? Scripting.
Yeah, Bash and Python are highlighted as essential scripting skills. The guide talks about how writing even small scripts to automate repetitive stuff can be a huge time saver, especially in a long exam scenario.
And learning all these tools, how does it suggest tackling that? Just read the manuals.
Definitely not just reading. It's all about getting your hands dirty. Use them, practice. Ideally, focus on one tool at a time, maybe, and use it against vulnerable machines like the ones on TryHackMe or Hack the Box.
Practical application?
Absolutely. Read the documentation, sure, but then experiment. Try things, break things. And crucially, the guide says, learn from your mistakes. Every single one.
Practice, experiment, learn from failures. Okay, that flows right into step 4, which the guide seems pretty emphatic about this one. It calls it everything in caps.
Yeah, it doesn't mince words there. Lab practice is positioned as the single most critical part of preparing for OSCP, period. You can read theory all day long, but until you're actually trying to compromise systems, figuring things out, you won't build that intuition, that muscle memory.
And does it suggest a path for lab work, like where to start, where to go?
It does lay out a kind of progression. Start maybe with TryHackMe's offensive pen testing path. It's generally seen as more beginner-friendly, often maps well to course concepts.
Okay, good starting point.
Then move over to Hack the Box. Start with our easy and medium boxes. Build up your confidence, see different kinds of challenges, expand your toolkit.
And if you want more control, maybe practice offline.
Highly recommended. Set up your own home lab. Use something like VirtualBox. Download some intentionally vulnerable virtual machines. Metasploitable is a classic. OWASP-BWA, tons of stuff on VulnHub. Safe, legal targets you can hit again and again.
Right, practice makes perfect, and the lab's closest to the real exam experience.
That would be OffSec's own PEN 200 labs, the ones that come with the course. The guide suggests spending a good chunk of time there once you're feeling more comfortable. They're designed to mimic the kind of environment and challenges you'll face in the actual exam.
Okay, and during all this lab time, banging your head against these machines, there must be a crucial habit the guide recommends building.
Oh, absolutely vital. Document everything. Every command, every tool you run, every discovery, every dead end, every successful exploit, everything.
Why so critical? Just for notes.
Partly for notes, yes, but the main reason is practice for the exam report. After the 24 hours of hacking, you have another 24 hours to write a detailed professional penetration test report. If you haven't been documenting meticulously all along, well, that's going to be incredibly stressful and difficult. Building the habit early is key.
Makes total sense. Practice the reporting while you practice the hacking.
Yeah.
So, okay, you got the foundation, the tools, logged tons of lab hours, documenting like crazy. Step 5 is making it official.
That's right. Enrolling in the PEN 200 course package from Offensive Security, you actually have to enroll in this to be eligible to take the OSCP exam. It's the gateway.
And what's typically in that package, according to the guide?
Usually you get the big PDF course guide, which is very detailed, video lectures that go along with it, access to those PEN 200 labs we just talked about, crucial practice, and importantly, one attempt at the OSCP exam itself is included.
Okay, so how does the guide suggest you actually work through all that PEN 200 material? Just read the PDF cover to cover.
No, it recommends a much more structured, active approach. Go section by section, watch the relevant videos, take good notes, then immediately do the related exercises. Don't just passively consume it.
Active learning.
Exactly. And then take what you just learned in that section and go apply it in the labs. Try it on different machines. Start with easier boxes related to the topic, then progressively try harder ones. It's a cycle. Learn, practice, apply, repeat.
And preparing for that 24-hour beast of an exam day itself. Any specific advice there?
Yes, the guide strongly suggests simulating exam conditions, maybe more than once. Set aside a full 24-hour block if you can, or maybe a shorter, intense session. Pick a set of machines, say 4 or 5. Try to compromise them like you would in the real exam.
And the reporting part, too.
Yes. Then practice writing the full detailed report afterwards, under a time constraint. This helps you build endurance, figure out time management, and just handle the unique stress of that whole situation.
Makes sense. Train like you fight.
Precisely. And throughout this whole final phase, the guide keeps bringing you back to that core mantra, try harder.
Right. The famous OffSec motto. The guide suggests it's more than just words on a t-shirt then. It's fundamental to the whole philosophy.
Absolutely. It frames it as the commitment you need when you hit a dead end, which you will constantly. It's about pushing yourself to research more, try a different approach, not just giving up. It's the engine, really.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this roadmap we've pulled from the guide. First, really grasp what OSCP is practical, demanding persistence. Second, build those fundamental tech skills, networking, Linux, Windows, before starting Pen 200.
Third, master a core set of tools through hands-on practice, focusing on the process, not just pushing buttons. Fourth, lab time, lab time, lab time. It's everything. Practice on diverse machines, document absolutely everything.
And finally, step 5. Enroll in Pen 200. Tackle it systematically. Learn, practice, apply. Simulate the exam conditions, including the report, and all along internalize that try harder mindset.
That nails the path outlined in the guide. And, it makes a point that this whole process, it's more than just getting a certification. It actually describes the OSCP journey as a kind of personal transformation.
A transformation. That sounds significant. How does it explain that?
Well, it argues that the sheer struggle involved wrestling with these complex systems, hitting walls over and over, forcing yourself to dig deeper, try new angles. It fundamentally builds up your patience, your persistence, your problem-solving abilities in a way that maybe other training doesn't quite achieve.
So you're not just learning specific hacks.
Exactly. You're fundamentally changing how you approach difficult problems. You become more methodical, more resilient.
Wow, that's actually quite powerful. It implies the struggle isn't just an obstacle. It's like the point. It's what forges those skills.
That's precisely the idea presented. The challenge itself shapes you. You emerge not just certified, but a fundamentally better, more determined problem solver.
Okay, so thinking about this whole journey, framed as a personal transformation built on patience, persistence, problem solving, all driven by that try harder idea.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think.
How could applying that same mindset, that resilience you build, how might that extend beyond just getting the OSCP? Could embracing that way of tackling hard problems, that commitment to continuous learning, could that be valuable not just in cyber, but in, well, any tough field you want to pursue?
That's a really interesting thought to leave things on.